주차할 땐 절대 선을 넘지 않는 반전 매력. 이런 게 바로 지킬 건 꼭 지키는 반전 매너. 나부터 더 매너 있게, 서로에게 더 매력 있게. 공공장소 매너 함께 지켜주실 거죠? 공익광고 협의회.
The time is now 2 o'clock.
Welcome to BFM News at 2. I'm David Kim. Central bank data released today, corporate loan growth in South Korea decelerated in the first quarter compared to the previous 3 months as companies increased borrowing to support their operations. As of the end of March, the total outstanding loans to local companies reached 1,916.6 trillion won, marking an increase of 27 trillion won from 3 months prior. This follows a 13.9 trillion won rise in the previous quarter, according to data from the Bank of Korea. In the manufacturing sector, loans surged by 12.2 trillion won on a quarterly basis, reaching 457.1 trillion won at the end of March. This contrasts with the previous quarter's decline of 0.6 trillion won. The service sector saw total loans grow by 11 trillion won to 1,228.8 trillion won, compared to an increase of 11.9 trillion won in the fourth quarter, the data indicated. Doctors at 4 major hospitals affiliated with Seoul National University SNU plan to stage a walkout starting June the 17th, as announced by hospital officials. This decision, made by senior medical professors at the hospitals, demands that the government fully withdraw punitive measures against trainee doctors who have been protesting medical reform since late February. Despite the walkout, emergency services and critical patient care will continue. The hospitals involved are SNU Hospital, SNU Bundang Hospital, Seoul Metropolitan Government, SNU Borame Medical Center, and SNU Hospital Healthcare System Gangnam Center. The government's recent decision to increase medical school admissions quotas by 1,500 marks the first such hike in 27 years. To encourage trainee doctors to return to work, the government has withdrawn orders for their return and suspended punitive actions. In local news, the old Busan Customs building demolished 40 years ago will be restored. Busan City and the Korea Customs Service announced today that they will sign a business agreement for the restoration and utilization of the old Busan Customs building, attended by Mayor Park Kyung-jun and Korea Customs Service Commissioner Go Kwang-hyo. The old Busan Customs building, completed in 1911, symbolized Busan's international trade city status, but was demolished in 1979 for the construction of the Busan Bridge Entrance Road. The restoration is being pursued in earnest as the 150th anniversary of the Busan port's opening approaches, and with the redevelopment providing space for the Korea Customs Service to carry out the project. Busan City said that about 20 popular restaurants will participate in the 2024 Busan Wheat Festival held at Hwamyeong Ecological Park from June the 22nd to the 23rd. The festival will feature restaurants introduced in the Michelin Guide and popular local eateries, allowing citizens to enjoy wheat-based foods. Chefs from 5 Michelin Guide-listed establishments will prepare food on site. Starting in July, Busan City will pilot a group-based, play-oriented English education program for preschools and kindergartens. The summer English program targets children aged 4 to 7 and early elementary school students, aiming to create an environment where English can be easily used in daily life through play with native English speakers. This program will be held at 21 children's complex cultural spaces where group classes are possible. In international news, Dutch voters have started a 4-day voting period for the European Union elections, with exit polls indicating a close contest between a left-green alliance and Geert Wilders' anti-Islam populist party. Right-wing and far-right parties are expected to gain significantly across the EU's 27 member states, a trend reflected in the Netherlands to some extent. Now taking a quick look at the weather here, it is currently 25 degrees Celsius under partly cloudy skies with the afternoon highs to peak around 27 degrees Celsius. And that'll have to do it for this hour's news. Thank you for joining us. You're listening to BEFM Busan 영어방송.
Your best choice. BEFM Busan 영어방송.
Coming up next is 2 p.m. Reboot with Casey McKeever. BEFM Busan 영어방송.
Every member in a band is important. A lot of bands these days consist of vocals, guitar, bass, drums. That's the usual format. And a band sounds best when each member does their best. For example, no matter how good the vocals are, if the drummer is terrible, the music will sound bad. Trust me, I'm a drummer. When I mess up, I can ruin a song. Do not drop the beat, drummers. So today we're going to talk about some of the greatest drummers in music history. If you're interested in drummers, definitely check this out. It is Friday, June 7th, 2024. This is the 2 p.m. Reboot with Casey McKeever. Let's get it started. Welcome back to the 2 p.m. Reboot. This is Casey McKeever, and of course you just listened to Chic with My Forbidden Lover. My Forbidden Lover is the second single from Chic's 1979 album, Risque. 1979, good year. I can vouch for that. This was from the funk and soul genre, and in the style of disco. I think you could probably feel that in the beat. The song was written and produced by Chic's two frontmen, Bernard Edwards and Nile Rodgers, who I think went on to go do other things as well. Billboard described the hit My Forbidden Lover as following its number one soul music hit Good Times, which you probably are familiar with that song too. They said My Forbidden Lover was another impeccably produced rhythm number. And that gets back to my main point. Without those drums, if the drums are not good, that song would not be good. And the bass, I think you could hear the bass was clearly carrying that song as well. Well, welcome, everybody. We are live in the studio in Busan on this Friday afternoon. It's getting a little bit hot out there. Welcome to the program. Of course, if you're listening to us in Busan, we're on BEFM 90.5. And we're in 103.3 FM in Gijang, Jeongwan, and Noksan areas. You can also listen to us in Seoul, TBS EFM at 101.3 FM, or in Gwangju at GFN 98.7 FM. Again, I'm your host, Casey McKeever. Happy to be with you all week. This has been my first week at it, and I've been thoroughly enjoying myself. Thank you for all the messages I've been receiving. I do want to let you know, to my YouTube people out there, we are streaming, of course, and you can just search us by looking up BEFM or Busan영어방송. However, when we do play music due to a music copyright issue, YouTube users cannot listen to the music, so you'll hear that it gets cut out and the sound will be muted while we were playing some music. But you can listen to the songs with our smartphone app or, of course, live on FM radio. So what have we got coming up today for you? In the first hour, we've got Hot Off the Press. We're going to listen to some new music that has just recently been released. And of course, I'll tell you a little bit about the artist and the song as well. And then Jeff will be coming in today for Weekend Wanderer. And Jeff is going to keep us up to date with all things that are happening in and around Busan and Seoul as well. Then in hour number 2, we're going to talk about the daily list for today. I'm excited. As I said in the intro, I am a drummer, and drummers get really excited about this topic. But, drummers are a big part of any kind of music. If you don't have a good beat, a lot of times the song is not going to be very good. So for our daily list today, we're going to talk about the greatest drummers of all time. And people like to argue back and forth with these kinds of lists. And of course, the exact criteria for a great drummer, it's very divisive. Ever since drummers became like kind of stars in their own right. Some people think it's all about the technical skills. Some people prefer the showmanship. So, of course, it's not easy to decide what are the top 10 drummers of all time, but we've got it anyway. So you can feel free to debate as well. And then we're going to have something new. We're going to have the Friday Spotlight. This is a new segment. We're going to introduce some local artists or musicians or performers that actually live and work here in Busan, or some people coming to perform in Busan. And today we're going to feature a Busan indie band by the name of Ilgain, and that will be very exciting. And also today we're going to have the perfect playlist. We pick the best songs for every situation. And of course, I'll be checking your messages throughout the show. So with that, we're talking a lot about music and playing music today. I'm sure a lot of you maybe have some kind of musical experience. Maybe you played an instrument when you were younger, whether you wanted to or whether your parents made you. That's another story, of course. But our question of the day today is, if you were to start your own band, what role would you like to play? 음악 밴드를 만든다면 어떤 역할을 하고 싶으신가요? So it could be anything. We talked about, of course, there's vocals. You got a vocalist. Typically, there's a guitarist or a bass guitarist. Drummers, there's usually a drummer, not always. But it could be anything. Perhaps you'd like to be in the support system. Would you like to be a manager? That could be a cool job. Or would you like to be a bus driver? That could be pretty cool. You get to tour around the country. Anything related to a band, what would you choose? What role would you like in a band? So you could send your answers in, of course, at 샵9050 or pound 9050. That'll cost you 100 won. You can reach us for free on Kakao. All you have to do is search BEFM or 부산영어방송, and you can just add us there and send us messages for free. You can also reach us on the smartphone app. You just search BEFM or 부산영어방송 in any of those app stores that might be on your phone, of course. And you can listen to the entire program on the app as well, and then just leave us some comments after logging in. So, again, think about it. What would you like to do? If you're going to start a band, what would be the role you would like to play? I've already told you I'm a drummer. I play guitar as well, and it's a very, very different experience. I have experience as a singer as well. That's usually where all the pressure is, right? That's the person up front. Would you like to be that person? Think about it. Send me your answers. I'm curious what people would choose most. I think the drummer's the coolest. Am I wrong? Tell me what you think. In the meantime, we're going to take a quick song break. We're going to listen to Get Lucky by Hailstorm. And then after that, we'll be back with Hot Off the Press. All right, you just heard. That was Get Lucky by Hailstorm. If you're like, hey, that song sounds familiar, that's because it was a cover of a Daft Punk song. A little more rock in that one, of course. You could hear the drums in that one, right? But now it is time for Hot Off the Press. So from Monday to Friday, every day, we bring you two of the newest, hottest tracks from the world of music. There are so many songs released every week, but we're going to choose the best ones and introduce them to you. What a nice service, right? So our first song today is Lost in Space by Foster the People. Foster the People will release their long-awaited fourth studio album, Paradise State of Mind, on August 16th. So the band previewed this LP with the nostalgic single Lost in Space, and this is their first music in a while. Frontman Mark Foster said in an interview, The record started as a case study of the late 70s crossover between disco, funk, gospel, jazz, and all those sounds. It was such a beautiful moment in time when these different styles of music were cross-referencing each other. Artists like Nile Rodgers and Chic, the Tom Tom Club, and Giorgio Moroder. I wanted to dive into that and figure out what they were doing. Cool, so a little bit of a throwback to a 70s sound. Nice. Our second song for today on Hot Off the Press will be Portrait, a remix by Mariah Carey. She's the queen of remixes, Mariah Carey. She's released an EP dedicated to her 2018 ballad Portrait. So this is a 4-track ensemble, and it features a special house remix of her original heartfelt track, including a 16-minute Hopeful Child remix. I assume that must be for the dance floor, right? 16 minutes, wow. And there's also a radio edit of the remix and another edit. So this EP also includes the standard version of the song, which Mariah co-wrote with Daniel Moore. And she said in an interview, Portrait of a Portrait is an in-depth journey into my inner life as a songwriter. And I'm excited to welcome listeners into the Butterfly Lounge for a unique, unfiltered exploration of my creative process and the meaning behind some of the songs closest to my heart. Oh, thanks, Mariah. So these are our 2 songs for Hot Off the Press for today. First up, we have Lost in Space by Foster the People, followed by Portrait Remix by Mariah Carey. All right, so that was hot off the press for today. You just heard that last song there was Portrait Remix by Mariah Carey. And before that, we heard Lost in Space by Foster the People. I'm feeling disco vibes, not PD. Is that what we're going for today? I feel the disco beat for sure. But we were talking earlier for the question of the day. If you wanted to start your own band, it doesn't have to be a disco band. It could be any kind of band you want. It could be jazz, could be rock, could be a funk band, whatever you want. What role would you like to play if you start your own band? 음악 밴드를 만들다면 어떤 역할을 하고 싶으신가요? There it is. 싶으신가요? Okay, cool. So I got some answers already. I got some answers from 펭수 아빠님. Says, if I were to make a band, I would like to be a guitarist. Guitarist is kind of the cool person out front there. People love to watch guitar solos. 펭수 아빠님 says he got an acoustic guitar from another broadcast, but I didn't think I would need it at the time, so I handed it over to my church brother, but now I feel like I shouldn't have done it. Oh no, it's okay. Don't feel guilty. When I try to play the same guitar, I use my pillow as a guitar. Hey, you know what? Dave Grohl, who's kind of a very famous drummer from the band Nirvana, he taught himself how to play drums on pillows. So you never know. Use what you have. It might work out. 1191 Nim says, it's my first time sending a message after the host change. That's right. I am the new host for 2 p.m. Reboot. That's right. Steve Hatherley is moving on to other things, so thank you for listening. Nice to meet you too. And 1191 Nim says, I want to be a vocalist. I can't sing well. I want to learn how to sing and become a vocalist. Yeah, I think a lot of people, not everybody, of course, but I think a lot of people have that desire to sing, whether it's in the shower by yourself or whether you like to torture your friends in a noraebang, whatever the case may be. Yeah, a lot of us like to kind of just sing sometimes, right? So I think go for it. I think starting is the key. You can learn how to become better later, but just make yourself do it. Cool. So thank you for your messages. Thank you everybody on the NoTube for saying hello. Good afternoon. Happy to be here with you. So if you have your own answer, if you want to start a band and you have something you want to play, let us know. Send your message into 샵9050 or pound 9050. That'll cost 100 won. Or you can reach us for free on Kakao Talk. Just search BEFM or Busan영어방송. You can send us messages for free there. Also on the smartphone app, if you just search BEFM or Busan영어방송 in the App Store that I'm sure is on your phone, you can download the app and listen to our programs, music included. And you can leave us a comment after you log in. We're going to take a quick break and come back with Weekend Wanderer with Jeff. All right, Jeff, welcome to the studio. We've got Weekend Wanderer, and Jeff is here. This is our first time doing this segment together. I'm excited.
Yeah, me too.
What do you do in this segment, Jeff?
So basically what I do is introduce the news around mostly Busan or around the area, and then I also tell everyone what's going on this weekend.
Awesome.
So fill up everyone's event calendar.
That's great, and it's that time. We made it to Friday. We need to know what's going on, of course. So, but before we get started, Jeff, I did have a question. Do you have any kind of musical experience? Did you ever play in a band?
I played in my school band when I was growing up in elementary school and high school. We don't have middle school.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, so straight from elementary school to high school?
Yeah, so our elementary school goes up to grade 8, and then 4 years of high school.
Wow, okay.
So, yeah, I played trombone.
Me too.
Wow.
Yes, me too. And actually, I learned, I want to say in like 3rd grade, I started trombone.
I started in fifth grade.
Okay.
I think I started out on the French horn, said I don't like this. Went to, my sister played the trombone, and that's kind of why I chose that, and I actually ended up being pretty good.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm terrible. Do you
really?
have any advice for aspiring trombonists? How do you get good? I was terrible.
I don't know.
It takes a lot of breath
I'm
control.
thinking I haven't thought about this for so long, but like, I don't know. It was just good. It was fun because my friend also in the same class in elementary school also played trombone.
Ah, okay.
And he is now actually a pretty high-level music producer in L.A.
Look at that.
Yeah, he's done stuff. He does stuff with a lot of rock bands. I think he's done American Idol stuff before.
Oh, wow, cool.
He's always been musically inclined, and I have not.
Well, you know what? But you've got that background together, and because your friend was doing it, probably made it a fun experience, right?
Yeah, and well, we used to try, like when we had concerts, we would you know how you can make like an elephant sound from the trombone?
Yes, it's a very unique instrument. If you're not familiar, it's the one with the long slide.
Yeah, so we used to kind of butcher our concerts and
On purpose?
yeah, just for fun. I kind of
Making trouble.
Kind of good memories actually thinking about it right now, and we would have some fun. So actually, we did do a couple of cool things. Once we went to Boston to
cool.
perform.
And where are you from originally?
I'm from Windsor, Ontario. in
Okay,
Canada.
so that's a long trip.
Yeah.
Right.
And then the second time we went up to Ottawa, the capital of Canada, and we played on the out front of the Parliament.
Okay.
Unfortunately, it was a windy day and everybody's music sheets flew everywhere.
Oops.
Yeah, so it was quite a thing to watch, like this school band playing with these music sheets flying everywhere and everybody trying to run and grab them while
Right.
you're in the middle of a song. So
Chaos ensued. That's pretty rock and roll for a band, right?
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, and that's the key, and that's why we're talking about music today. Music is a fun experience. If you join a band, whether it's like a small 4-piece band or whether it's like an orchestra or school band, it's just a fun experience, and I think a lot of people just enjoy it, right?
Yeah.
Well, awesome, Jeff, and I'm glad I've got a fellow trombonist out there in the world. I don't meet many of us.
Right. That's our first connection.
Are we gonna talk about anything about music today?
We are actually. In fact, we're going to start out with the initial lineup has been revealed for the 2024 Busan International Rock Festival, which is going to take place in October, the first weekend on the 4th to 6th at Samnak Ecological Park.
It's very well worth going. I've been twice, two or three times. It's a great experience.
Yeah, and this year's the 25th anniversary, actually. And so they've announced the first 22 acts, which is headlined by the UK rock band Caspian and British singer-songwriter Anne Marie, and some popular Korean acts like Janabi and Gukastan.
Okay. Gukastan, they're one of these bands. Have you ever been to the Busan International
I
Rock
have
Festival?
not. I usually sent some of my... I have kind of a couple of freelance music writers who do stuff for me.
Oh,
so I send
cool.
them.
Okay, so they've checked it out.
Yeah.
There's something that happens. I don't know if this is like, especially to like Korean festivals that this happens, but the fans often make these like banners.
Mm-hmm.
Like they'll make these huge flags, and like Gukastan is one I've seen a lot.
Okay.
So their fans are very dedicated, and you'll know when it's showtime for Gukastan because the flags will just fly up, and you can see them from like so far away. So people put a lot of effort into it just to attend these festivals and take part. It's great.
Yeah, like I said, I also have 3 ex-students, I guess I should say, that are both. One's a group, like a 2-person group, and then one's a famous solo singer.
Ooh.
Who are ex-high school students that I used to teach.
And that's pretty cool to see, right?
Yeah.
Like to see like, oh, wow, I knew them back when in high school, and then see how they move on.
Well, see, so the one, maybe people know who he is because he's actually performing in Busan, I believe, in July. Im Han-byul was a student of mine. He goes by One Star, but I taught
One Star
him,
is his performer name?
Han-byul.
Han-byul.
Yeah, One
Thank
Star.
you for the translation.
Yeah,
That would have
so-
taken me a while.
Yeah, so he was a student of mine for 2 years. Really good kid. And then the other 2 guys, I would have not guessed they were anything music inclined. But so they're in a band, a Korean indie band called Glencheck.
I've heard that name. I know that name. Yeah.
So both ex-students of mine. And I actually did an interview with one of the guys a few years ago. I bumped into him. I saw that he was performing in Busan.
Right.
So I went to the club where he was. He was standing outside, and then he looks at me. He's like, "No."
Teacher?
Yeah. So it's kind of cool.
It is cool. And yeah, it's just like, I don't know, there's something magical around the music world. If you know people involved in it, it's just kind of cool to know them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. So that'll be the 25th anniversary. I can't believe that. 25th anniversary of the 2024 Busan International Rock Festival happening later this year.
Yeah. So they're going to be releasing the second lineup soon. And if you're looking for more information, you can check out the festival website, www.busanrockfestival.com.
Awesome. Sounds good information. What else do we got?
We're going to skip over a few things because we're going to keep on the trend of music and tell what's going on at this year's Busan One Asia Festival, which is going on this weekend.
Oh, this weekend?
Yep. So
Okay.
this is the first time it's actually going to be held in June. It's usually held in October.
I was going to say, it seems a little early, yeah?
Yeah, so they've moved it to try, because there's so many festivals in October that they wanted to kind of make it more prominent to have a festival around May or June.
Right, I
Because
gotcha.
there's not really any big festivals around the city at this time of the year.
Right.
So they've moved it to June. and it's going on Saturday and Sunday.
Very cool.
So let's take a look at what's going on. So at 7 p.m. on Saturday at the Ajiad Main Stadium is the main concert. So there's 9 groups that are going to be performing.
What kind of groups are they?
So we have God, Super Junior D&E, Zero Base One, Boy Next Door, Nowadays, Ensign, Lunate, I guess, H1 Key, and Billy.
Okay, and these
I probably butchered some of these names, but
That's okay. You're putting them out there, and
Yeah.
people can search them, right? So what kind of music is this?
so it's a K-pop festival. So that's what.
Okay.
So the Busan 180 Festival is Korea's biggest K-pop / K-culture festival.
And this is probably something a lot of people visiting Busan would be really interested in, I would imagine, because
Yeah.
K-pop is the big draw.
There'll be a lot of people in town for these concerts.
Cool. So this is something you should definitely check out if you're in town. Even if you live here, you've never had the experience. You want to see what K-pop's all about, you can go see it.
Yeah, and I've actually been to one of the concerts probably about 5 years ago, and it was the first time I went to a, I guess, big K-pop concert like this. It was quite interesting to see.
I bet. And probably the energy is probably infectious, right? Like, I'm sure it's like tons of young people like just jumping up and down for hours on end.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, so I had a media pass, so I could walk around pretty much anywhere I wanted to go, and
Nice.
so we were just kind of walking around the main stage area where not where the stands are, but on the ground floor.
Right.
Yeah, it was quite something.
That's one way to put it, right?
Yeah.
Cool. So that'll be on June 8th. Okay.
That's
And
a
then-
7. And then on the 9th, the park concert, which is taking place at Hwanmyeong Ecological Park by the Nakdong River. So here there's 4 groups of Mellowmance, Paul Kim, Juk Jae, and my ex-student.
No
Imam Do.
kidding.
Yeah.
Check that out. See, there you go. And you know what? You could go stop by, say hi, how you doing? 1 star. Would you call him 1 star? Or
Yeah,
would
so
you
I call him 1 star.
1 star.
Yeah.
Cool. And then can I have your autograph 1 star, right?
No, I just, hey, what's up?
Hey, keep it real. Yes, that's a
Yeah.
good way to do it. And that location is a real great location. Hwamyeong Ecological Park, if you've never been, it's just like a beautiful area of the city.
Yeah, it's a big, wide open space, so you can kind of just relax and without being packed into a seat.
Yeah, exactly.
Other special events going on for this event this weekend. There's a K-pop playground on Saturday at 2 p.m. on the deck of the Busan Ajiad Main Stadium. So basically, they're going to have celebratory performances by Hook. And it's part of the Visit Korea Year initiative and features a contest to select top participants for a Grand Prix final.
That sounds like something. Grand Prix final sounds serious.
Yeah. K-culture experiences. So this will be K-beauty, K-art, and K-food activities for fans. And at the park concert, it's also free. So
Oh,
if you're
for real?
Yeah. So the park concert on Sunday is free.
Oh, that's good to know because I think the one on Saturday is going to be a little bit expensive, is my guess.
Yeah, probably.
Okay, so if you're looking to save a little bit of money, but you want a great experience, the Sunday show is perhaps your best bet. So yeah, that's always good to know that there's free admission out there still somewhere.
Yeah. Okay. Moving along, just one other quick note. This
Sure.
is actually quite interesting for people. So on June 1st, Kimhae Airport and Busan Station started to bring a lot more of large-sized taxis.
What do you mean?
So, like, for people who come with either like a group of people or have a lot of luggage,
Oh,
or it's
instead of
kind
the
of
regular
hard to really
sedan.
get into a small sedan.
Right, okay.
So they've increased the number from 40 to 100. So
That's a big increase.
yeah, it's a big increase, and so again, it's allows for more flexible travel, and they're going to be starting different routes in July. So passengers from Kimhae Airport and Busan Station will be able to go towards Haeundae. Yeah, so it's just a very good thing for people who are traveling. That
Yeah.
there's a lot more options now for large taxis, because that's always been one of the hassles, and you see it a lot on social media where people ask, "How can I get a large taxi? How can I get a large taxi?"
Yeah, I
or
whate'd
whatever.
know.
Yeah,
Yeah, so that's good to know that there's a
now
lot more.
They've made their own kind of expanded lanes around the airport and the Busan station to accommodate the large taxis to allow them to go in and out quicker. So
Excellent. All right. Well, I tell you what, let's take a quick song break, Jeff, and we'll come back for more after this. We've got a song lined up by Ed Sheeran. This is Shivers, and then we'll be back for Weekend Wanderer with more with Jeff. All right, we're bringing it right back to the 2 p.m. reboot, and we're here with Jeff for Weekend Wanderer. And before the break, we were talking about a lot of music-related events, and I highly suggest if you get the chance, even if you've lived here for a long time, go check out one of these rock festivals. Go check out the what's the K-pop one called again? The
Busan One Asia Festival.
That's what it's called. Thank you. Yeah, so these are like just really cool events that, only big cities can really attract, right? So that's a lot of the music stuff going on. Jeff, are there other kinds of events besides music?
Yeah, so other events going on this weekend. If you haven't been, this will be the last weekend for the to view the sand sculptures at the
in
Haeundae Beach. So the festival finished last weekend, but they kept the sand sculptures up until Sunday.
Okay, and then Sunday they're going to knock them all down. I want to be part
Monday.
of that.
Probably Monday.
Monday. All right, I will show up to Haeundae Monday and help.
Bring your little shovel and
yeah,
pail.
right. That seems like it would be a lot of fun to take them down.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry to all the artists who did all that hard work, but it seems like a fun thing. Have you been to the Haeundae Sand Festival before?
Oh yeah, I've been every year.
Yeah, and it's remarkable what people make, right?
Yeah, we're really talented.
Yeah, so you can go check that out until Sunday.
Yeah.
And then I'll be there on Monday morning with my shovel.
Yeah.
Cool. What else we got?
Also through Sunday, continuing from last weekend, is the Centum City Beer Festival going on from 6 to 10 each night. That ends on Sunday. Going on at Bexco this weekend, a lot of different events. We have the Busan Furniture Expo, the Busan Sports, Leisure, and Golf Expo, the Busan Gift Show,
Wow.
the Busan Architecture Expo, and the Busan Tool Show.
It's all the same place?
Yeah.
Yeah,
all
that's
at
remarkable.
Bexco.
Oh, so, and actually the cinema center is like not too far from Bexco, so you could go perhaps have a beer and then check out all of these things, or perhaps do the beer afterwards.
And then go to the beach and knock down some
sand sculptures.
some sand
We're not
sculptures.
saying you should, but
Yeah.
somebody's got to take them down at some point. So, if you do, Monday's the day to do it, right?
Right. So also going on this weekend, there's two dance festivals. One is the Busan International Dance Festival, which is going on at the Busan Cinema Center, Hanulyeon Theater, and also on the special stage of Haeundae Beach. This is the 20th edition. There is also the Busan Dance Festival, not to be confused, also going on this weekend at the Busan Cultural Center. So this is actually more of a national dance competition.
Okay.
Whereas the international one is more like different genres of dance.
And perhaps different countries as well, it sounds like represented. Okay, cool. So those are two different events. There's the International Dance Festival and then just the Dance Festival, right? Okay,
Right.
cool. Got it.
Also going on at Gwangan Beach this weekend, we have the Busan International Pole Vault meeting.
Say what?
Yep. This is an annual event that they do at the at the Gwangali Beach Square.
Okay, so not on the sand, I guess.
No,
Yeah, 'cause that
I
seems
think
like
it's believe in the far corner. So
okay.
they're doing the International Pole Vault meeting. And also through next week is the World Cinema 21, which is going on at the Busan Cinema Center. So there's films across the world if you're looking to see films. Also this weekend, baseball. SSG's in town for a 3-game series with Lotte.
Cool. So baseball going on this weekend as well in Busan. Awesome.
Busan.
Cool. So is there anything else for Busan, or is that it for Busan?
That's it for Busan. So going into Seoul, we have the Art Festival Forest, connecting daily life and art on Saturday at the Kim Hee-soo Art Center. Music festival again, the Seocho Music and Art Festival going on Saturday and Sunday at the Seoul Express Bus Terminal Plaza.
Okay, so it sounds like an outdoor festival then.
Yeah.
Cool. Which of those is best?
Paradise City Ultra Korea is going on Friday through Sunday. Icheon One at the KSPO Dome on Saturday night. Who else do we have here? Cheuri First Concert, Hullabu Volume 3, Saturday night, Saturday and Sunday, and Flying. Yes24 Live Hall. Rain. Remember Rain? B?
Oh, yeah. B. Yeah.
So he's having a concert June 8th night at Olympic Park.
Oh, that's a big venue too, right?
Yeah. YB Tour Lights Infinity going on at Jangchun Arena. Baek-ah Shinhan Square Play Live Hall and a Korean Memorial Festa June 8th and 9th. 88 Garden at Seoul Olympic Park.
Okay, so it sounds like there's a lot of music events going on for sure.
Yeah, there's a lot of music events coming up, especially up in Seoul. So actually on my website, we actually feature a Seoul Concerts page where we list every concert that's going on.
That's how you keep up with it.
That's how I keep up with it.
Because, it's hard to, there's so much going on from week to week, right?
Yeah. So we actually just started featuring it earlier this year, and it's become one of our most popular pages. People
Because-
looking for concerts in Seoul.
I don't know if you've noticed this, but to me, I was talking to my friends about this recently. It seems like there's a resurgence in interest for concerts, and I guess you might be like, duh, there was a pandemic.
Yeah.
So does it feel like that to you as well? Like, it just seems like people are really interested in going out. Yeah.
Yeah, and concert tickets are kind of getting way out of control, especially like North America, especially. But here as well, the prices are actually kind of high, but they still seem to attract a lot of people. So still good.
That's good for the artists, I guess, if you think about it in that respect too, because they probably went through a couple of tough years
Right.
where it was hard to scrape by. So they deserve some money. We got that, but for sure. And you also did tell us there are some free music events as well. So that was Sunday at Hwamyeong Ecological Park.
Yeah.
Right. If you want to check out something for free. And you know what? Even if you just want to go out there and walk around, it's a beautiful place, and you'll probably hear music playing in the background.
Right. One last thing,
Sure.
little news piece I wanted to go over, which is concerning tomorrow, actually. So tomorrow we're actually expected to get a lot of rain.
Oh, no.
And with kind of strong winds, so I don't know what that's going to happen to the pole vault competition or even some of these concerts.
Right.
However, that's not what the news is. The news is after the rain stops next week, the temperatures are going to start to really warm up.
I was waiting for that. Like today has been a bit hotter than it has been, right? So
It's been about normal, but
okay.
next week's supposed to get towards 30.
Oh, already?
Yeah.
That's that sudden change. I'm never ready for that.
Yeah, it does it every year in Busan. Like you, when it gets to April, you're kind of waiting for it because it gets a little warmer, and then May just stagnates at around 24, 25.
Right. Which I shouldn't just enjoy it while it's like that, right?
And then there's always one rainstorm that comes, and then the heat comes.
And that's
so
what's
it
gonna
usually
come.
happens after Jangma, but this
Right.
time it's happening like a little bit early. So be prepared next week. It's gonna get warm.
Okay, so enjoy whatever events you can enjoy this weekend because it's going to get hot.
Right. So get ready for your air conditioners.
Yeah.
Get ready for maybe go sit in the freezer of a nice supermarket.
For sure. Yeah, just walk indoors somewhere and be like, I'm just going to hang out in here for a while.
Yeah. Bring
Cool.
a chair. Sit in front of the TV.
Right. Yeah, well, thank you for the warning, Jeff. We need to know that. So thank you so much for Weekend Wanderer. This is a great segment, and I look forward to seeing you next week.
Yes, me as well.
All right, cool. That was Jeff for Weekend Wanderer. We're going to play one more song to end the hour. We're going to listen to December 1963, Oh What a Night by Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons, and that'll do it for the first hour. We'll be back at 3 p.m.
부산 영어방송.
혹시 지금 운전 중이신가요? 어린이 교통사고 피해자 수는 지난 3년 평균 약 9만 명. 특히 어린이 보호구역 안전 기준이 강화된 이후에도 어린이 보호구역 내 사고는 지속적으로 발생하고 있습니다. 스쿨존에서는 반드시 시속 30km 이하 서행, 스쿨존 내 불법 주정차 금지, 차량 출발 전 앞뒤 좌우 살피는 습관으로 어린이가 안전한 도시를 만듭니다. 참, 운전 중 휴대전화 사용은 모두에게 위험합니다. 우리 모두를 위한 교통안전, 나부터 실천하면 모두가 안전해집니다. 어린이가 안전하게 뛰어놀 수 있는 부산. 아이 키우기 좋은 도시는 우리 모두의 미래이자 희망입니다. 이 캠페인은 어린이가 안전한 부산을 만드는 은행, B&K 부산은행과 함께합니다.
Electric kickboards and electric bicycles are common on the streets these days. With the increased use of personal mobility devices, the number of accidents and deaths have reportedly increased significantly.
Personal Mobility Patrol Mode.
I don't need to wear a safety helmet because I'm only riding a short distance.
Wear a safety helmet. When you drive your personal mobility devices, you have to wear a safety helmet.
Hey, I rented an electric kickboard. Let's ride it together.
Okay, you drive in the front, I'll get in the back.
Follow the number of passengers. Only one person can ride an electric kickboard and electric wheel parallel car.
Follow the rules of personal mobility devices and drive safely. This campaign is brought to you by BEFM 부산영어방송.
The time is now 3 o'clock.
Welcome back to the 2 p.m. Reboot. This is Casey McKeever, and you were just listening to the song Lowrider by War. Maybe familiar? I'm not sure. That's a very iconic line to me. I hear that song, instantly I know when I hear that melody line, I'm like, I know that one. And a lowrider, in case you don't know, is actually a kind of car, and it's a kind of culture as well. Lowriders are those modified cars with the hydraulic lift that can let the driver actually lower each wheel of the car and make it bounce. I think that was pretty popular in a lot of like maybe early 90s, mid 90s rap videos, hip hop videos. They often have those like kind of outrageous paint jobs, maybe flames on the side or like bright colors, tiny little steering wheels and the swivel seats that can actually turn. There's usually like kind of those older, maybe 1960s, 1970s big cars especially. And the culture that formed around these cars is big in the southwestern United States and popular in Latino culture. And most of the band War actually grew up in Southern California, and they were immersed in that lowrider culture. So the band War actually was kind of a fusion as well. They fused rock and jazz and funk, Latin music with R&B. According to frontman Lonnie Jordan, he says, "We never thought we'd hit because we were too different. People wanted us to be like the Chamber Brothers, which were a famous R&B band, or Sly and the Family Stone, which are kind of a famous funk band. But we just let it flow and played." So yeah, do your own thing, and you know, sometimes people will appreciate it and you'll never know. You'll never expect it. That, wow, people like what we're doing. That's the magic of being in a band and making your own music. So very cool. And I also recommend Eric Burdon and War, the song... Spill the Wine, I think, is the biggest song on that album. Another classic album. So you're listening to us here live in the studio in Busan on this Friday afternoon. It's getting a bit warmer, but as Jeff warned us, yes, he warned us as well, that perhaps after the rain this weekend, that things are going to get quite a bit hotter in the city. So in other words, enjoy it like it is right now. And you're listening to us here at BEFM 90.5 in Busan. And if you're in Gijang, Jeongwan, or Noksan, you're listening to us in 103.3 FM. And of course, in Seoul, we're on TBS EFM 101.3 FM. And in Gwangju, we're at GFN 98.7 FM. I'm your host, again, Casey McKeever. Happy to be here every day with you this week. And I hope you've been enjoying the show as well. I'm kind of getting sorted here. I think, I'm getting comfortable. I'm enjoying myself. I hope you're enjoying it too. Hi to Lee Kelly Nim, who says, yes, well, it's been a while. Yeah, happy to see you're listening. He says, I can't listen to Lowrider without thinking of Cheech and Chong, famous comedy duo, a certain brand of humor for sure. Yes. Yeah, I definitely recall watching those movies myself. Ananim says, I want to play the electric guitar. Cool. Another message from Ananim. If I could play it, an electric guitar would be cool. Yeah, electric guitar is this, I don't know why it's so cool. There's an interesting video that Dave Chappelle made with, what's that famous guitarist, John Mayer? A very interesting video that they made together showing how popular electric guitar can be with certain people. Ben Nim says, rather than playing the role in a band, I'd rather be a solo artist like Ed Sheeran. So perhaps not having a band, just putting yourself out there. Or like Taylor Swift or Billie Eilish. Ben says they're male versions, that is. So perhaps not wanting to be exactly Taylor Swift or Billie Eilish, but be like those kind of performers. Cool. Yeah, just, I don't know. There's something I really enjoy. I don't know if I would call myself a musician, but I like to play music. It's just something I enjoy doing in my spare time. So that's our question of the day. If you were to start your own band, what kind of position or what kind of role would you like to play? 음악 밴드를 만든다면 어떤 역할을 하고 싶으신가요? So yeah, send us your messages. I'm curious to see what people would like to do out there. I've seen one mention of being a singer. I was kind of surprised. I expected more of that. But it doesn't have to be a musical instrument. It doesn't even have to be a role in the band. Maybe you want to be on the sides, music photographer. Why not? That could be anything. So send us your answers at 샵9050 or pound 9050 for a measly 101. Or you could reach us for free on Kakao Talk. Just search BEFM or Busan영어방송. Add us there, and you can send us messages for free. You can also reach us on the smartphone app. You just have to go to the App Store and search BEFM or 부산영어방송. And you can listen to our program there, music included. And then you can leave us a comment after you log in. And so what have we got coming up still? We're in hour number 2. We've got the daily list coming up. We're going to talk about the greatest drummers of all time. Electric guitarist. Seems like there's a lot of interest in that. We'll have to think about that for the future. And then we're going to have our new segment, Friday Spotlight. We're going to talk about some local musicians in Busan. I think a very up-and-coming band. They go by the name of Ilgain. I had the chance to interview them recently, so we'll take a listen to that and some of their music. That'll be exciting for me. I hope you enjoy it too. And then we're also going to have our perfect playlist. We pick the best songs for every situation, we think. And this week we've been talking a lot about June. So let's see what the theme is today. We're going to continue, right? And of course, I'll be checking your messages throughout the show, so keep them coming. I enjoy it. I love seeing what you're thinking out there. But first, we're going to take a quick song break. We'll be right back with the daily list after Baby I Love Your Way by Big Mountain. All right, get pumped. It is time for the Daily List. Of course, we were just listening to Baby I Love Your Way by Big Mountain. Pretty famous song, I think. I remember a Peter Frampton version of that song, right? So now we're going to talk about the Daily List. I've been talking about this a little bit here and there. I keep mentioning that I play the drums. Am I the greatest drummer in Busan? No, certainly not. I can name some. Actually, we're going to name some in the interview coming up. But so we're going to talk about worldwide drummers. If we think about worldwide drummers, what are the greatest, or who are the greatest drummers of all time? And some of these names might be familiar to you. Some of these names you might know their music more, or some of these names you might be like, I don't know who that is. So I'm going to give you some background information. But these are people that are often considered the greatest drummers of all time. Without them, their bands probably would not have been as great as they were. So I think this guy, often number one on any drummer's list, is John Bonham. And if you're not familiar, he is the drummer for a band called Led Zeppelin. They're a pretty famous band. They're very heavy at times, very folk music at times, very bluesy at times, a big mix of music. But a key ingredient to their success was probably Mr. John Bonham. He's often considered one of the best rock and roll drummers, if not the best rock and roll drummer of all time. If you're looking for evidence, there's a song called Good Times, Bad Times off of Led Zeppelin's first album, and I still cannot understand how he does the kick drum pattern. It sounds bizarrely fast and off tempo. It's just all over the place in an amazingly magical way. I think the famous Jimi Hendrix once said that your drummer's foot looks like a rabbit when he was watching them perform, because his foot was just unbelievably fast. If you hear this song, Good Times, Bad Times, you might be like, he's got a double kick drum pedal with, left foot and right foot going at the same time. No, it was one foot. So there's cool videos out there. If you look on the streaming world, there's particularly a girl, an American girl, and a Japanese girl who do covers of this song in particular, and they can nail it. It's amazing to watch. So what was John Bonham known for? Instinct, his feel of the groove, and also his speed and power. He was one of those hard-hitting drummers. Me personally, that's my style too. I hit a little too hard. So if I ever come into the studio and you see some bruises or some red marks on my hand, that means I probably played the drums over the weekend. And John Bonham was one of these guys. He was self-taught, but even if you're self-taught, you must have influences from somewhere. His influences, interestingly, are some of the great jazz drummers, Max Roach being one, Buddy Rich being another. And John Bonham, he got his first drum kit at 15 years old. He was listening to these drummers that were fascinating to him, and he would listen to their records over and over again. And he inspired other drummers in a very similar way. If you're familiar with the name Chad Smith from the Red Hot Chili Peppers, or Dave Grohl from Nirvana and later Foo Fighters, those are two drummers that were heavily influenced by John Bonham's style. If you're into the metal, Slayer, Dave Lombardo's drumming, also heavily influenced by John Bonham. So a lot of people know him for his rock drumming style, but later Led Zeppelin music, they started incorporating funk music style, Latin music style. So yeah, it was all over there. And he was one of those drummers who would play those 20-minute drum solos in the middle of the set. Love it or hate it, it was amazing to watch. So people definitely appreciate his ability. Coming in at number 2 on our list, and again, you can debate this if you... I see Ginger Baker got the mention. He's coming up. Hang in there. Before we get to Ginger Baker, Neil Peart is often, and I think there's confusion. How do you say it? It is Peart. Neil Peart, not Neil Peart, which, I get it. The spelling is not clear. Neil Peart was a drummer for the band Rush. He was their second drummer, but he was evidently he was the reason that the band became what they were. And he not only was behind the drums, he was behind a lot of their lyrics. And so a lot of Rush's biggest songs, most important songs that people know are largely responsible for Neil Peart's drumming style, but also his lyrical style. And they said he was chosen for the band because he reminded them the two, who's Alex Lifeson and Geddy Lee. Okay, off the top of my head there. He reminded them of Keith Moon from The Who. I'll get into Keith Moon in a minute. What that means is Neil Peart was kind of wild. He's all over the place, hard-hitting, loose, in a good way, whereas Keith Moon was loose in some other ways occasionally. Neil Peart was actually very meticulous, very technical. So Keith Moon is an interesting comparison. I would disagree a little bit, but if you've ever had the opportunity, Neil Peart did pass away, but there's tons of videos of him where you can see him performing live. One of the things you'll notice is the size of his drum kit. It basically wrapped around him, and he just had this ability to move around the entire kit like it was nothing. It's amazing to watch. And so he was also known for playing these drum solos and just like almost inhuman ability. So I just mentioned Keith Moon. Keith Moon is one of my personal favorites. He's number 3 on our list of the greatest drummers of all time. I think there's a movie coming out about Keith Moon in the near future. And Keith Moon is interesting for many reasons, but one of them is his just personality. And so he wasn't the steadiest, let's say, or the most conventional drummer of all time. If you're familiar with the Muppets, which was Kermit the Frog and all those characters, there was a drummer that they occasionally had on the Muppets. His name was Animal, and Animal was inspired by Keith Moon. He was wild. Things would explode. He would play so fast that there would be smoke. That was Keith Moon. Keith Moon was the kind of guy that would blow up his drum kit, literally. He blew it up on TV and ruined his guitarist's hearing in the process. And he would also trash hotel rooms, famously. He was just a wild, wild person. But that was part of the experience of watching him play. He was unpredictable as a drummer. He would often kind of lead the songs with melody, in a way, on the drums. And there's a lot of classic examples of that, especially in their early music. I think Who Are You is probably the most famous, well-known song of theirs because of a TV show. And you can hear a little bit of that on that song as well, but especially their older stuff. And unfortunately, he died way too young. He died at the age of 31 in 1978, and the band was left with this huge gap. And it's amazing that they actually were able to carry on. Okay, this brings me to number 4. Ben Nim mentioned this one. Ginger Baker, another drummer. Wow, everybody on this list. A lot of these drummers are not with us anymore. So I guess there's going to have to be a list of current drummers coming up sometime, right? But Ginger Baker is another well-known best drummer of all time. He was in the band Cream. He was also in Blind Faith. He also had his own project, many projects, in fact. And there's a fascinating documentary about Ginger Baker. Oh, I think it's called Beware, Mr. Baker. It's really interesting. This guy follows him just to see what he's up to and nearly gets attacked on several occasions by Ginger Baker. Ginger Baker had a very fiery temper. He was perhaps not the nicest drummer on the list, but he was a pioneer. He did use those 2 kick drums. He did use those extended solos. And actually, he was more of a jazz drummer, which made him a little bit unusual. If you're not familiar, Cream was Jack Bruce on bass and Eric Clapton on guitar. And the 3 of them, Ginger Baker with them, just made this incredible. A lot of their live improvisation, just incredible to listen to. He actually unusually used match grip for that style of music, which means you hold the sticks the same way in the right hand and left hand, which jazz drummers typically don't do. He also used a lot of African rhythms. He used a lot of syncopation. And he was definitely a showman. You know, he perhaps didn't want to talk to you after the show was finished, but a lot of his influence can even be felt in heavy metal because he just had new styles of playing. Okay, I've got time for a couple more I think I can do here. I'm going to squeeze them in real quick. We've got Buddy Rich on the list. I mentioned him as an influence for John Bonham. He was a jazz drummer. If you watch the film, what's the film? Whiplash, you'll see Buddy Rich mentioned in there quite a bit. Buddy Rich was a jazz drummer who was known for being very fast, very powerful, but also meticulous on his timing. And another person, perhaps not well known as being the most nice drummer, but definitely influential. He started at the age of 4, and he was playing drums on Broadway at that age. Can you imagine? So yeah, he was a child prodigy. He was self-taught. By the time he was a teenager, he was leading bands on international tours. I can't imagine leading anything as a teenager. But yeah, when he was 15, he was the second highest paid child entertainer in the 1930s. So imagine that. Imagine being that famous at the age of 15. I don't think I could deal with that well. And he stayed committed to, being a drummer. as a jazz drummer in particular. Even though, the big band music kind of fell by the wayside, he played for so many big names like Ella Fitzgerald, Louis Armstrong. And he played with what they call a traditional grip, which means your left hand is holding the stick kind of sideways and your right hand is holding it straight out. But he would switch. He would switch to match grip when he played the floor toms, and that was kind of unusual for that style of jazz drumming. And then let me get to another one. Do I got time for one more? Okay, I can squeeze in one more. All right, I'm going to get to Benny Benjamin. Benny Benjamin was a big part of the Motown scene. Berry Gordy was the songwriter in Motown, and he would not record anything unless Benny Benjamin was in the studio with him. He was able to come up with all kinds of a variety of rhythms all at once. He had this kind of steadiness. He was like a metronome himself. He would never drop the tempo. And a lot of the artists that we talked about on the list are not with us anymore. Actually, all of them. And unfortunately, Benny Benjamin struggled with addiction throughout his life, and but his impact is felt still today. He was a mentor to a young Stevie Wonder, who basically credits Benjamin for his own drumming style. Stevie Wonder says he learned a lot from Benny Benjamin, who was one of the major forces in the Motown sound, and that sound changed popular music in the United States forever, and I suspect around the world. So that's going to do it for our greatest drummers of all time. I only got to 6. There are more names out there, I'm sure. I see Ringo Starr being mentioned, Roger Taylor, 2 people who are still alive and still out there drumming. The drummer is the backbeat. They are the heart of the band, right? So very important to know some of these names, I think. But let's take a quick song break. We're going to listen to Ginger Baker thump on some drums a little bit. This is Cream with Sunshine of Your Love. That's what I'm talking about. That's okay. That's the drummer carrying the band, in my opinion. What a strange rhythm to choose. So that probably like 1969, I'm guessing. Yeah, what a strange style of drumming. And that, I can definitely hear heavy metal taking off from that. So I see the drummer conversations getting some attention there. So I do want to mention some other drummers that people are mentioning online here. Def Leppard's Rick Allen, one of the only drummers I know who actually, after he lost his arm due to a car accident, I think, he was able to continue as a drummer. And his band became even more famous after that. Interesting. This is a name I don't know. Tom Grosset. So apparently, somebody who's a very fast drummer, and it's amazing when you watch. I'm not a fast drummer, but I do enjoy watching drummers play what they call a double stroke. And there's guys who can do it unbelievably fast. Ringo Starr getting some love out there. People noticing Ringo not being mentioned. I'm sorry. Ringo is a great drummer. Well, I mean, if the Beatles didn't have Ringo behind the drum kit, I think a lot of their songs would not have been as big as they were. Ringo is maybe not as flashy as a lot of drummers, but his beat, his choice of rhythm carry a lot of their songs. Let's see who else people are mentioning out there. Interesting. Tommy Lee. Tommy Lee is the drummer for Motley Crue. Arguably most famous in the 80s. I think the 90s they were still pretty famous. Yeah, Tommy Lee was the guy who would be in a spinning cage as they were playing in their concerts. Like he could play as his drum set was rotating up and down. That takes some practice. You can't just get in the cage and think you're going to play, right? So people obviously very dedicated to their craft there. Cool. Who else we got mentioned? Roger Taylor. Okay, I should mention Roger Taylor. He is the drummer from Queen. If you think about, what's the dude, everyone, another one bites the dust, right? Without that beat and just keeping it simple disco, that song would not be as good. I would argue Under Pressure is the fantastic song that it is because of the drums going on behind the song there. So Roger Taylor, another great mention. And I think he was also a great singer as well. He did a lot of the backup vocals. So there you go. Thank you so much for your messages. I do want to move on, though. We've got the Friday Spotlight coming up, and we're going to focus on a group of musicians from the Busan area. So here we come, Friday Spotlight. All right, nice. Okay, another drummer. I wish I could, John something. It must be a Taylor. Taylor something. He's in Duran Duran. So we are here on the Friday Spotlight. We're going to talk about some artists, some performers, some musicians here, either in Busan or perhaps coming to Busan to perform or to put on a show. So who we're going to talk about today for the first segment, 일가인. So il means one, right? Oh, good. That's good timing. This will be our first one. 일가인 are a 4-member indie rock band. Actually 5 now. They have 5 members. They are based here in Busan. And they're very playful. They're doing their own thing. I'll put it that way. They are not perhaps what you're typically used to when you see a band. They're not concerned about stage banter. They're concerned about creating a feeling. And they're definitely interested, I think, in a lot of the punk rock in the 70s, a lot of the rock and roll in the 60s. They are unpredictable. Sometimes their song ends before you're ready for it, and it's just cool. It's just like, oh, wow, I didn't see that coming. So the members of 일가인 are Kim Ki-tae, who's on the vocal and guitar. You know what? They're going to introduce themselves in the interview. But okay, Choi Jung-won, who's on the guitar and does a lot of the guitar solos. Chung-ho, I'm sorry. I know you, Chung-ho. He plays bass. Kim Bo-kyung is on drums. And Hyun, you'll hear in the interview, she actually has joined the band as well. She does the percussion, and sometimes she'll just like dance, which is a whole entertainment in itself. I actually had the chance to interview them last week, so let's take a listen to what we talked about. Today I am here with 일가인. What is your name and what do you play?
My name is Hyun, and I play percussion and also sing just one song named Blue Dog.
저는 일가인에서 기타 치고 노래합니다. 김기태입니다.
I'm Jungwon. I'm guitar.
My name is Bo-kyung and I play drum in 일가인.
And we're missing one member. Who are we missing?
Our bass name is Chung-ho.
Where is he?
In the restaurant.
He's eating by himself right now?
He's having a dinner just alone. because he don't have a friends.
Are you guys like friends or are you like family?
정원 said we're business.
How did you guys meet?
기태 형하고 충우 형은 친구 동창 사이고요. 보경이 누나는 기태 형이랑 소음 발광 활동 같이 해가지고 그렇게 밴드에 영입되게 됐고요. 저는 구인글로 통해가지고 영입되게 되었습니다.
희연이는 제 친구라서 같이 하게 됐습니다.
Actually, it's usually we're 4 members, but I'm just invited to the percussion, so we're 5 members.
What kind of music do you play?
저희는 고전 로컬노를 바탕으로 새로운 것을 만들려고 합니다.
Is there any band that made you want to play music?
예전에는 인디록 밴드들, 스미스 웨스턴즈나 아니면 뭐 세이수미나 그런 팀들의 음악을 하고 싶었는데 요즘에는 벨벳 언더그라운드, 롤링스톤즈 같은 그런 음악을 하고 싶어서 밴드 이미지를 조금씩 바꿔가려고 새로운 곡들을 쓰고 있어요. 요즘에는.
What's a band that made you want to play music?
미셸건 엘리펀트 and Mayhem and Nirvana, Flamin' Groovies.
My favorite song is different from 일가인 style. When I was young, I first met indie music, 브로콜리 너마저. I like folk song and K indie rock. Yeah.
Is there a drummer that made you want to play the drums?
드럼을 치고 싶었던 건 부산의 사이드카라는 밴드 그 전에 나초푸파라는 밴드 보고 치고 싶었어.
이후무 때문에.
네, 이후모 때문에.
Did you have a band that made you want to play music?
There's so many bands. My most favorite band is Radiohead, but I don't want to play like their songs. I don't know, Melody Echo Chamber, and I found a broadcast, Smith, and also Ilgain. I really love Ilgain.
So when they started, you didn't join the band yet. You came later. Did you ask them to join the band or did they ask you?
They asked me. I don't know even, am I a band member?
How did you feel when they first asked you?
Is it okay?
How do you feel now?
I just enjoyed it. Yeah. Dancing.
I'm going to play one of your songs. Does anybody want to introduce the song?
저희 제임스 레코드 컴필레이션으로 발매한 나무라는 곡. 저희가 원래 우린기태로 활동했었는데 일가인으로 이름 바꾸고 새롭게 그 처음으로 낸 노래 나무거든요.
All right, so there was the first part of our interview there. And of course, some of that was in Korean. So if you didn't understand some of the things they were talking about, we were talking about what kind of bands influenced them. And actually, a lot of these band members have been in many bands before. So they're kind of a new combination. For example, the drummer Bogyung has been in many bands, Soham Balgwang being another one, which is, I think, locally pretty well known. And I think is in Seoul as well, kind of the indie scene. And these guys know about indie music. So if you're looking for interesting music to listen to for yourself, a lot of the bands they mentioned, like the Smith Westerns and Seisumi, I think the Rolling Stones and the Velvet Underground are a little perhaps more familiar. But they mentioned a lot of different bands that you can check out. So yeah, so what they said is one thing I wanted to ask, are they kind of like family or friends? And then they had a funny answer. They're a business. And that answer came from Jungwon. And the way he talks even, he sounded like he was almost like businessman. But I think that's part of the relationship with bands. Like people kind of have different feelings about their role in the band and how they feel about their band. But a lot of times in my experience, you kind of become friends or possibly even more than friends, almost like a family. We also mentioned that Hyun, who's their newest member, she was kind of invited to join the band because Gitae and she are friends. So a lot of bands, when they find somebody they mesh with, when, the personality fits, that's the way to make the band even better. Because personalities can, it can change the dynamic of a band. Okay, I tell you what. So let's take a listen to our second part of the interview, and then we'll listen to their new song.
Band that's playing is ILGYNE.
We're Ilgain.
ILGYNE. 그거는 왜 그렇게 했어요?
Because that's not a common word in English, so we just find something cool, looks cool. So that's all.
영어로 어떻게 번역해서 쓸까 이렇게 고민했었는데 지금 선택한 게 제일 멋있다고 생각해서 딱 영어로 스펠링으로 썼을 때 그래서 그렇게 선택했어요.
You know, bands, it's sometimes hard to make a decision. Do you guys kind of vote? What's your system?
정원이가 아이디어가 많아서 평소에 어쨌든 정원이가 넘버 원이고 저가 기태가 넘버 투고 이제 나머지 멤버들.
부산에 공연 자주 해요?
거의 모든 공연을 부산에서 많이 하는 것 같아요. 아직은. 근데 많이 다른 지역에서도 많이 하고 싶습니다.
Where do you really want to play outside of Busan?
맨체스터, 매드체스터의 근원지이자 맨체스터 유나이티드 최고.
The music we're playing is from the UK, so they wanna play in UK.
All right, where do you want to play?
There's some fans in Seoul of Ilgain, so they wanna come to Seoul.
그리고 사실 부산에서 더 많은 공연 하고 싶긴 해요. 집이 가까우니까 악기 들고 가기 편해서 그리고 그냥 익숙하고 좋으니까 부산 공연장. 네.
Where do you want to play?
I want Seoul too. Many friends in Seoul, but they never seen our band.
7월 4일에 새로운 EP가 나오거든요. 7곡이 나오는데 많이 들어주세요. 감사합니다.
Oh, that's so polite, so nice, right? So we're gonna take a listen to their new song called Namu, and it's on a James record compilation called Boom, and there's a lot of fantastic artists on there as well. So let's take a listen to that really quick. This is Ilgain with Namu. Record compilation, Boom, and I hope you enjoyed that. They had I talked too much, guys. I'm sorry. They had a song request they wanted to have by another local band, Gamun Iptul, with the song Messenger. It's a great song as well. I highly recommend that. check these guys out. There's so much music, great music coming out of Busan, and I suspect we will hear a lot more from Ilgain in the near future. With that, we're going to get to our perfect playlist. All right, so it's time for the perfect playlist. We do this every day, Monday through Friday. Do you need the perfect song for the perfect situation? We've been talking about June this week because June has begun, right? So this week's theme is songs about June. We're going to hear a song called Drops of Jupiter by the band Train. The hit single Drops of Jupiter, you might be familiar with this one. It's a song that mentions June only once in the lyrics, but the substance handles much of the same evocations that June holds for a lot of us. So, if you know the story behind the song, that might make a little bit more sense what I just said there. So according to the lead singer, Pat Monahan, he wrote the lyrics about his mother's journey through the afterlife. Kind of heavy topic. In the first verse, the singer can feel his mother's presence in every rainstorm, every sunrise, and at the start of summer in June, right? So now that his mother's presence has returned to him, he asks her questions that we all want answers to. Yeah, very, very happy. I thought Drops of Jupiter was something about the planets, so I had no idea that's what it's about. So for today's perfect playlist, let's take a listen to Drops of Jupiter by Train. All right, so that was Drops of Jupiter by Train, a song I have a new appreciation for. I had no idea that's what that song was about. And that's the cool thing about music, right? Sometimes it's better not to know, but sometimes when they tell you, this was about that. Kind of cool, right? So I hope you enjoyed, I do want to mention, I hope you enjoyed that song, and I hope you enjoyed the Ilgain song Namu before that. And I did want to mention, I forgot to say, you can catch Ilgain. Actually, they're going to be playing here in Busan tomorrow night at 9 p.m. They're going to be playing with two other bands. Bandits is one. They're having an EP release show, and they're playing with a band from Gojedo, who I will probably be talking to soon, called Komemos Nubem. And they'll be at Old 55 in the Gyeongsang University area. So go check that out. I think it's a free show, so that's pretty cool. So yeah, I just wanted to mention that for them. And thank you for all your messages today. If you wanted to make your own band, right? That's kind of what we were talking about. And it kind of turned into which drummers are the best. Because, yeah, I mean, come on. Drummers are fun to watch. If I go to a show, I like to watch the drummers. I'm not going to lie. A lot of people like to watch the singer. A lot of people like to watch the guitar. Ooh, what kind of effects does he got? What kind of, solo is she playing? Okay, cool. But I will always watch the drummer. So I hope I get the chance to watch Bo-kyung play the drums tomorrow night. So that'll be fun. Some other drummers that were mentioned, I want to throw out there. James Gadsden. I'm assuming jazz drummer, working with Herbie Hancock. So that's another name for me to check out. I'm a little uneducated, apparently. Also, another mention for Phil Collins. I was like, oh, yeah, right. Phil Collins. If you don't know Phil Collins, just think do-dung, 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 dung. It's the In the Air Tonight. His drums are probably like the most famous part of that song. So yeah, a lot of very cool answers. Thanks for coming. Thanks for sending them in. And I appreciate you guys staying with us today. I've had a lot of fun, as usual, here on the 2 p.m. Reboot. And we did have a special request, so I do want to squeeze in time for that. But I just want to remind you, we'll be back, of course, at 2:05 p.m. on Monday. Next week on the Friday Spotlight, we're going to feature somebody else. I've got a little preview for you. We're going to feature the band Shindoshi. And this is a band that's actually not from Busan, but who comes to Busan regularly to play shows here. So look forward to that. And every Friday, I'll be bringing something special about Busan, musicians, performers, the arts, something cool that I think you should know about. So I hope you all enjoyed that. With all that said, I hope you enjoyed the show today. I have been Casey McKeever, your host, and I'm going to squeeze in a quick song request. Brick House by the Commodores for Lee Kelly Nim. So enjoy that, everybody. Have a great day. Stick around for Your Busan.